So I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened last week. Uh, Last Sunday, a week ago today, I woke up with like a tightness in my chest, my left side of my chest, and I didn't think a whole lot of it. I just figured, you know, uh, it's not the first time I've woken up and something hurt that didn't hurt when I went to bed. So I just went on about my day, went to church and everything, and Um, as the day progressed, the pain got worse and worse, and it radiated from the left side towards the right side, and then just got worse and worse. And I just started feeling really lethargic and just worn out. Like I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sit on the couch and stare out the window, basically. And I guess about 7 o'clock or so, it started to radiate up my neck and into my jawline and really get painful. And I talked to my wife about it, and basically the first things out of her mouth was, "Do you want to go to the hospital?" And of course, that was her way. She knows me. She wanted it to be my decision, but that was her way of saying we need to go to the hospital. So we made the decision, went to the ER. But before that, she had contacted her mom, so because our kids were in bed, and her mom came over to watch the kids, and I just normally I find it so easy to pray for little stuff and even big stuff, when I have time to process it and stuff. But in that moment, I let my mind go. I let the enemy use that as a way to just attack me and fill me with doubt and worry and anxiety. And my mind just went all kinds of places. And you know, I went into my kids' room like it was going to be the last time I would ever see them, kind of stuff. And that's just not like me, at least not now. And it, it really worried me. And then so the drive to the hospital was just angst ridden, and I was just really anxious and worried, and my wife knew that. And then we finally got to the ER, and being that I'm a 41-year-old man with chest pains, we didn't have to wait very long. We went right back. They hooked me up to stuff, and they started doing some tests, and you know, uh, pretty much told me if we're going to give you some you know nitroglycerin, and if that relieves some of the chest pressure, chest pain, then it's a cardiac issue. And so I took it, and there was a big part of me that was like, I hope this doesn't, as much pain as I was in, I was hoping it didn't relieve it, because then it's a cardiac issue. And so uh, they gave me one, and it relieved it a little bit, and then they gave me another one, and sure enough, it relieved quite a bit of the pain and pressure. And at that point, they said, it's obviously a cardiac issue, and we're going to get you a room. We're going to keep you overnight. And at this point, I had already had a chance to settle myself down. My wife had reached out to people to ask for prayers, and so I had settled myself down, and I was praying. So my anxiety was basically resolved itself. Not to say that I wasn't thinking about the possibilities of what might be going on, but I definitely had calm, through prayer and through centering myself on Christ again. I had calmed myself. And then, but anyway, so they put me in a room, and anybody that spent any time in hospitals know that being in a hospital is not a place where you're going to get rest. People are coming in and out of your room, either for you, or definitely if you're in a semi-private, as they call it, room, they're coming in to see the other person. And so they were in and out doing blood tests, doing EKGs, and just all kinds of stuff. And the doctor had ordered uh, a stress test, and thought we were going to do the one where you run on the treadmill. But when they looked at my EKG, the doctor said, "I don't want you running on the treadmill with what I see on your EKG." And I'm like, okay. So they do what's called a chemical uh, stress test, which is basically they pump your heart, they pump into through an IV, they pump a chemical into your bloodstream that basically convinces your heart, makes your heart act like like you were running. And you're going at it for like 5-10 minutes or whatever, and then they bring you back down. But took some X-rays, more EKGs, more blood, and things like that. And a little bit later, uh, a an internist came in and said that they found something. They found an abnormality, a blockage. He used the word heart attack. That being said, he uh, English was not his first language. It's not a criticism. It's just an observation. And I think maybe he was trying to explain something, and he couldn't really word it in the right way, because almost immediately after that, a nurse or a physician assistant for the cardiologist came in and said, we don't think it was a heart attack, but there's definitely something going on, and they recommend what they call an angiogram, or a heart catheterization. And she explained it a lot better, and it didn't make it any less, powerful, the way that she explained it compared to the way that he explained it. There was still something serious going on. And so they said they wanted to schedule me right away. And I said, sometimes, when things pop up, they'll let people go home, and then they'll schedule it and then go back in a week or so and have a heart cath done. But they said with me, they didn't want to wait anymore, based on my family history and my current medical issues with high triglycerides and stuff, genetic high triglycerides. But so they called an ambulance, set up an ambulance, and took me right there. And I went and met the cardiologist there, and he looked at all my tests and all my X-rays and all my EKGs and everything, and he agreed that he needed, the best course of action was a heart catheterization, an angiogram. And this is what he does. He works for, he's a cardiologist. This is all he does. He works with the heart. And he said, this is what we're going to do. And he had already prepared me for, basically saying, now when we get in there, when we find what we're looking for, we need to decide whether or not to put a stent in, or we need to talk about bypass. And so, not gonna lie, when he used the word bypass, I got a lump in my throat. I'm 41 years old, and I'm thinking, they're gonna cut my chest open, and he was already preparing for that. And so every step of the way up to this guy, they, two X-ray techs, radiologists or whatever, two cardiologists at one hospital, an internist at one hospital, and a specialized cardiologist at another hospital, had all concurred that this is something that had to be done, and there was something serious going on. And so they wheeled me back in there, and he went about doing a heart catheterization and went through it. And then afterwards, he came to me and said, everything we saw an hour ago, 2 hours ago, is gone. There was nothing there. There was no blockage. The things that he saw and everybody saw that were affecting my heart, that were causing these issues, it was gone. And needless to say, I was happy. And then they took me to a recovery room, and I met my wife there, and my in-laws came in, and we talked about what had happened and what we thought had happened. And that brings me to the point of this video is, I know exactly what happened. The amount of prayers that were going up from myself, from my wife, from people in my church family, my family, strangers that didn't even know me. The amount of prayers that were going out is astronomical. And I want to caveat this by saying that up until a couple years ago, if somebody would have told me that this was a miraculous thing, I would have looked for the scientific reason. I would have said, well, there was nothing miraculous. You just had some misinformed doctors or uneducated doctors. Doctors made mistakes. But the fact is the closer I got to that operating room for this procedure, the more at peace I was. I've told people since then that the most peaceful place I've ever been in my entire life is in that operating room. Because as they wheeled me in there, I felt these hands like holding me, and I heard a voice in my mind saying, "Don't worry, I got this. You're going to be okay." And I took that as whatever the situation, whether it be a stent, whether it be bypass, that I would be okay. And that gave me comfort in and of itself. And obviously, what I found out after the fact is that what that meant was this thing that was there is gone. And it was gone. And, and that is 100% purely the power of the Holy Spirit and prayer. And he did something that only he can do, and doctors can't explain it. And I know people watching this will think I'm a nutcase, and that's fine. And the fact is he did something massively miraculous and powerful for a reason. There are reasons he did it for me. There are reasons he did it for the people that will hear about it. And some of the main reasons he's done it for me, obviously the healing. That the healing is is a big thing, but it's just the tip of the iceberg for me. When I look at it in the fact that, now I didn't need it, my faith was strong, but now it's like ironclad. And I've talked to people about, being concerned about, I'm about to start a new project at work where it takes me into a place where it's hard to be in a situation to get my cup refilled by the Spirit. And now every time I think about what the Holy Spirit did for me in this, my cup is immediately refilled. So now I have this knowledge that I take into this dark place that I'm going to go to. And when I go into this place, I immediately can meditate on this thing, and my cup is refilled. And that's a powerful thing. This is something that's not just a one-time thing. It's obviously something I'm going to share with people for a long, long time. But it's the main thing is now I get to have my cup refilled daily as I think about this in a place that is not easy to get my cup refilled. And I share this story, and on top of that, these are big things, the healing. And now I have something to meditate on to keep me centered and to keep me focused on the Holy Spirit. But also, the doctor that performed my angiogram, purely by crapshoot, I was assigned to him. And he specializes in the exact disorder that I have as far as genetic high triglycerides. And because of that, I now am in touch with somebody that's going to help me get that under control. Something that I thought would be high and I would be like a ticking time bomb forever. And now he's got me in a situation where I can get that under control. And it's pure and simple. It comes down to faith. And if I didn't have faith through this, it would have destroyed me. It would have riddled me with anxiety and worry and probably depression, and I wouldn't have come out of it. But the people praying for me, my church family praying for me, pastors taking time out of their day to come pray with me and pray over me. These are the things that matter. Those are the people that you want to count on. Those are the people that are on your side. And you could tell when they're there with you, when your friends are there with you, when they take time out of their day to come visit you and pray with you and talk to you. That's how you know that it's something different. There's something different about a church family that you don't see in any other facet of life. And they pray with you, they praise with you, they worry with you, they get down on their knees and go to God for you. And I'm just thankful. And if anybody out there is, especially if you're already in a church, if your church is set up that has small groups and home teams and things like that available, and you're hesitant, or that you just don't think that's your thing, or you think Sunday morning is enough, I can tell you right now that your church family is those people that you're going to do small group with. Your church family is that small core group of people that they're going to be praying with you. They're the ones that are going to be able to look at you and know that something's not right, and they can go to you and say, what's going on? I know something's not right. They're the ones that are going to come to the hospital. They're the ones that are going to pray with you, pray over you. They're the ones that are going to come over to your house and mow your yard because you're out of town working, and you're not going to have time. They're the ones that are going to help with your kids. They're the ones that are going to walk on this journey along with you, because they're your forever brother and sister, your forever eternal family. And that's the people that you need. And if you can find a church family like that, I don't care if it's a church with 2,000 people or a church with 20 people. If you can find a small group of people that you can do church with, it's a beautiful thing. I will stand by that from now until the end of my days here on this earth, because those people that are in my small groups, those are the people that I know will walk through fire with me if need be. And I hope they know that I'd walk through fire with them if we had to, and that from now until the day that I die, I will carry them to Jesus on my knees. And I love each and every one of them. And I'm thankful, because I know without that church family that edifies me, that pushes me to be stronger and to build my faith, I know that I wouldn't have had the courage and the composure, and I wouldn't have got the healing that I got, because I wouldn't have prayed about it. I wouldn't have had people praying for me. Me and my wife would have been going it alone, and we would have been scared, but we weren't. We had our whole church family praying for us. And it's said that when you I always know when I attained my salvation in Jesus Christ, He gave me a new heart spiritually. And I know on that day, before I went into that operating room, the Holy Spirit reached in, and not only did I have a new heart spiritually, He gave me a new heart physically. And that is a part of my testimony that I will never leave out. I will. It is something that I will share with people, because it's powerful and it's real and it's true, and it lets me know that I don't expect the miraculous thing every single time, but because I know it's possible, it gives me so much faith, and it makes me want to just pray that much harder. And all I can say is prayer is powerful. Your church family is powerful. Small groups are powerful. People that you do church with, that's powerful. And that's what it's all about.